Hello viewers, welcome back. I'm sorry for the break, but I was at a dentist today, so yes. Speaking for longer periods of time, not good. Anyway, Napoleon. I talked about the unique ability. I want to say a few words about the unique units as well. The Musketeer is a really strong musketman replacement. It has 20 strengths instead of 16. Which it replaces. So it's a really powerful early Renaissance unit. It's so good that it can be coupled with cannons, and you can basically conquer as many lands as you want, because even the rifles are no match for a really backed up for musketeers backed up with great generals and so on. It really scales well with any bonus you might have from Himeji Castle or great generals or the honor social policy tree and so on. The Foreign Legion is an infantry replacement unit. It gets 25% bonus when fighting in enemy territory. So in that aspect it's really good. It can also be built when you discover mechanized infantry, so you can simply continue to build Foreign Legions and then upgrade them to mechanized infantry, so the mechanized infantry retains the bonus. So overall, Napoleon has one of the best, most solid units you can get in the game, at least from the unique unit pool. And these, combined with the culture gains from having a lot of cities, even puppet cities, yield the bonus culture. So Napoleon is one of the, if not, well, it's favored by many players, many top players, especially on higher difficulty levels. It's a very good civilization. Bismarck of Germany. His unique ability is, upon defeating a barbarian unit inside an encampment, there is a 50% chance you earn 25 gold and they join your side. How this works? Let's say you kill a warrior inside a barbarian camp, you capture the camp, you can get 25 more gold to a total of 50, since you get 25 gold anyway from capturing a camp. And there's a 50% chance that a barbarian brute will spawn. Since barbarians don't have warriors, they have brutes, which are slightly weaker. But this also works for any other unit type. If there is an archer in the barb camp, you have 50% chance to get an archer from it. It even works for later era units that can spawn in barbarian camps. There might be an infantry in a barbarian camp, and you might get an infantry. So this unique ability works for all eras, and I think it was designed with larger map types and larger maps in mind, where there is plenty of unclaimed territory in which barbarians can spawn. I've used this ability on Earth maps, and I've used this ability on large maps where the expansion of civs isn't that fast as it is on normal or small maps. So Bismarck's unique ability is dependent on the map type, and it's also dependent on map size. On maps like Archipelago, there is even on a small or normal size map, there's a chance that you won't be capturing all the barb camps very early, so their Bismarck's ability can work as well for a long time. And the bonus gold is always nice to have. It's not as great as the Askia's bonus, but it's decent. Bismarck's unique units are the Landsknecht or Land Knight and the Panzer. The Landsknecht is a pikeman replacement, and the Panzer is a tank replacement. The Landsknecht is available with civil service as the pikeman, and if you don't have iron, Landsknecht can serve as a replacement for a swordsman, and its main benefit, it's the bonus of the Landsknecht, is that it costs as much hammers as a spearman. So you can build really fast, really powerful units, but only if you get civil service early. It cannot stand its ground against, let's say, long swords or even knights sometimes. So the Landsknecht needs to be built early in the game. Probably the best way to get to civil service earliest is to build the Great Library for the free technology, but you have to really plan for it, because you have to have all the prerequisite technologies. Or you can get a great scientist from the Liberty Tree, and then use that great scientist when the time comes to bulb civil service. The added benefit is that civil service also makes your river or lakeside food tiles farms yield more food. So overall, I think with Bismarck, the civil service is one of the top priorities in technologies. The Panzer is a tank replacement, and it's unfortunate because currently in the game the tanks are a bit weaker than they should be. It's a beefed up tank really, with 5 moves and so on. So it on larger maps again, it's probably going to see some use, especially if the game drags out into the late game. But I suspect that Firaxis will boost the strength of tanks eventually, so they will be used more, because right now it's almost as easy to get to mechanized infantry that doesn't have the penalties that the tanks have. So if you want to use tanks, and if there's a plenty of open terrain, tanks can be really powerful, but you need to learn how to use the attack and retreat mechanics of the tanks. So Bismarck is a good warmonger. It can field a very large army very early on because of the barbarians captured and the Landsknecht. But I think it's a bit too early. So it might be good on slower game speeds like Marathon or Epic, and on larger maps where the technology, the attack pace isn't that fast, and Bismarck can field large early armies that can conquer a lot of terrain. In my opinion, his abilities come a little bit too early, but that's me. Maybe you'll find it perfect, a perfect fit for your own games. Alexander of Greece. His unique ability is that city-state influence degrades as half as fast and recovers at twice the normal rate. So what this means is that Alexander is for Alexander, it's ridiculously easy to gain lots and lots of influence with city-states, and it's the usual strategy for either a computer player or a human player to spend most of his gold into allying with city-states, because these alliances are so easy to maintain as Greece. It also usually drags Greece into investment into the patronage tree, because some bonuses there, like the science bonus and so on, are extremely powerful, and Greece can be, if played properly, one of the strongest civs in Civilization 5. Although, if you are not playing with city-states, or if you happen not to have many city-states on your continent or whatever, it can be really painful, because Greece really depends for its unique ability on presence of city-states. It also has 2 unique units. One is the Companion Cavalry, which is a really powerful horseman replacement unit that comes very early in the game, and the other is the Hoplite, which is a spearman, a really powerful spearman. Both units are exceptionally good, and they are slightly more expensive than their normal counterparts, but Greece can really survive without iron, and these units are really powerful. They can even attack cities, no problem on their own, and the Greeks in military, especially in the early stages of the game. Wow. Um, the Greeks, especially in the early stages of the game, are if they build a lot of units, they are simply unstoppable. But still, for my taste, the same thing as with Germany. I think these units come a little bit too early for my style of aggression in this game. But it again depends on the game speed and so on. So if you're playing on slower speeds, or if you are fighting defensive wars as Greece, these units are going to be, well, you cannot be beaten if you have these units, simple as. So Alexander and Greece is one of the, if city-states are present, Greece is one of the strongest civs. It's also one of the strongest AI civs. The AI seems to be handling both the unique units and the city-state buyout thing very well. So it's not unusual to see Greece as being allied with a bazillion city-states like already in the medieval era. Gandhi of India. His unique ability is it's about happiness. Usually every new city you found takes 2 happiness just to found. So any additional population is adds 1 more. With India, every new city you found will cost you 4 happiness base, and then every further citizen will only cost you half of happiness. So for example, if you have 2 cities, 1 capital and 1 extra city, it's going to cost you 4 happiness extra. But if they are both size 10, that 20 population will cost you only 10 unhappiness. So how to play with this? Well, some world wonders like the and some social policies like the Forbidden Palace wonder will work much better with India. And basically India's unique ability is powerful even if you have a lot of cities, because if your city is above a certain size, it really doesn't matter that much. You know, the 4 unhappiness for settling it or capturing it is going to be easily mitigated by the number of citizens in that city. And also this skews the happiness building bonuses in the benefit of India. So for example, the Colosseum, which requires a certain population to be effective, and the theaters are going to count the total population and not the unhappy population. So overall India has no happiness problems whatsoever. Maybe at start, maybe. And it's very easy to grow Indian cities to ridiculous sizes, especially with some social policies like freedom and so on, with specialists. It also has a unique unit and a unique building. The unique unit is the War Elephant, which is a I forgot, I think it's chariot archer replacement. Yes, it's a really strong chariot archer replacement. It has strength 8, so it's stronger even than an archer, which is strength 6. It only has 2 moves, but it's probably the best chariot archer you can get. It's really powerful for its era. It's a really good defensive or offensive unit, and you're going to use him. You should use it if you are playing any type of the game, even defensive, offensive, peaceful, whatever. And the unique building is the Mughal fort. It's a fort, so you need to have city walls before you can build it. But it provides culture in addition to its defensive bonus, and after you discover flight, it also gives you some gold. So overall, if you have few cities, well, puppets tend to build castles anyway. It's a castle replacement. So the puppets tend to build castles anyway, so the Mughal fort will just get you extra culture. And your few cities are probably, well, you can build those Mughal forts as well, because hey, it's culture and extra defense is never bad. The gold bonus will kick in at flight, but I don't think it's, well, I don't think it matters much. The only real benefit of that goal is that castles in general and walls don't require maintenance anymore. So everything you get from these forts is just a bonus. The downside is that you have to invest hammers into building them. Gandhi of India is probably one of the easiest leaders to play for some culture games or games where you have very few cities, like 2 or 3 or 4, because happiness is so easy to manage. But he can be also played for very large empires, because as long as your population sizes are larger than, I don't know, pt.2, all those cities are going to be easier to maintain in positive happiness than for other civilizations. Okay, Hiawatha of the Iroquois. I never learned how to pronounce it. Of the Iroquois. Its unique, his unique ability is that units move through forest and jungle in friendly territory as if it's a road. These tiles can be used to establish trade routes. This ability, it's very important to note that this ability works only if your cities are connected through friendly territory. So if you found cities far away from your capital, you still need to connect those forests, those unclaimed forests, by road, because the trade route won't work then. Or you can purchase tiles that are forests or jungles that would connect your cities. So in that aspect, I don't know how beneficial it is, since as Hiawatha you want to be claiming a lot of land. It will kick in eventually once your cities get enough culture and claim enough tiles. And the added benefit is that it doesn't say it here, but this connection, instead of this road replacement connection, also works as a railroad. So it adds the railroad bonus. It doesn't add the railroad movement speed, but it adds the railroad bonus. So at least that's how it was when I was last playing Hiawatha. And so this ability really cuts maintenance costs if you have a lot of forests in your lands. If you don't, well, then you are it also works well with the longhouse, Hiawatha's unique building. Longhouse is basically a workshop replacement building. It provides hammers for every forest tile worked by that city. So production, where there are lots of forests, Hiawatha's cities can crank out a lot of production. Really. Unfortunately, more often than not, you are forced to cut at least some of those forests down to create farms, because otherwise you cannot feed your cities. His unique unit is the Mohawk Warrior. It's a swordsman replacement. It gains bonus attack and defense in forests. So, since forests are abundant at that time, it's a decent unique unit. But again, well, I wouldn't put it in the same league as the legions, but it retains, if upgraded to longswords and so on, those units will retain this bonus. So the Mohawk Warrior, especially on defensive, are extremely powerful, and these guys cannot be broken until, like, I don't know, rifles, if you are on the defensive. So if you're planning to play a strongly defensive game, Hiawatha usually spawns near large patches of forests. with the Mohawk warriors and a few other units like archers or crossbows, you're going to be unattackable really until riflemen. Because what, the 50% bonus on base 11 strengths is 16. I don't know if it's rounded down or up, but yeah, it's really powerful. Well, not, yeah, until rifles, that's right. Gunpowder units are 16 strengths and the longswords are 18. So yep. So how to play with Hiawatha? Well, depends. I would go for whatever game. Well, my first let's play was with Hiawatha and there wasn't a lot of forests, but in general you can play for whatever you want. The strong production from forest tiles is really good, especially with the now reworked workshop, which is now excellent. It's an awesome building. So in general, playing as the Iroquois is very easy. Oda Nobunaga of Japan. His unique units, his unique ability is that his units fight as though they were at full strength even when damaged. And obviously he has two unique units at his disposal. He has the Samurai and the Zero. Well, that's I think the allied name for this airplane, but it's the Zero. It's a fighter. Anyway, the unique ability. How it works. Units, when they take damage, they get weaker, and the more damage they get, the weaker they get. But Japanese units do not get weaker when they are damaged. So a Japanese unit that has one hit point will attack and defend as if it was at full strength, which is insanely powerful. This is especially true when you are going when you're attacking or being attacked by a large army that will do a lot of damage per turn to you from different sides and so on. And so your units can either defend or attack next turn as if they were at full strength, unlike the enemy who is now damaged. This isn't as important for melee units probably as it is important for ranged units. So your catapults that get bombarded by cities or catapults inside cities, your ranged units can attack those cities at full strength, full power. This is also very important for aircraft. Aircraft will get damage whenever it attacks. So these units, the aircraft can constantly bombard for a few turns without losing power. And this is also very important for ships, because ships cannot heal outside your cultural borders or allied borders. So ships on high seas will be as effective even when damaged as if they were fully healed. So this, if you're a warmonger, this is an exceptionally good ability. A lot of people think it's not good, but especially on higher difficulty levels, it's insanely powerful. It's really must-have, because you will be not facing 2 units, you will be facing 10 units. And those of your units that survive are going to be able to either attack or defend again at full strength. So if you want to, Oda Nobunaga is also extremely hard to fight as if he's an AI. So the only real counter to the Japanese unique ability is to use ranged units. Use crossbows, use bows, use catapults, aircraft and so on, ships, because when you're attacking with ranged units, they cannot, their ability is not taken into account. So that's one of the ways to easily kill them. And you want to finish off Japanese units. so they have no chance to heal up. You want to finish them off with ranged units. You want to kill them fully, because with other civs, if you see a unit with like 2 hit points remaining, you can simply ignore it and attack something else. But with Japanese units, you never know what are they going to do with that unit. They might attack your unit and kill it if the terrain is in their favor. So yes, as a warmonger, Oda Nobunaga is one of the strongest civs in this game. The samurai is a slightly stronger longsword, because it gains the flatland bonus promotion immediately, and it also increases the generation of great generals. So fielding samurai and lots of them will enable you to get a lot of great generals, which in turn will probably be used to start golden ages and thus boost your economy. As usually there is no need for more than 2 or maybe 3 great generals in the field. Well, again, depends on the map size. The Zero is a Japanese fighter. It gets a bonus when fighting other fighters. Honestly, I haven't seen much action in the air in this game, simply because it's one way before it the air units start being dominant. But that might change from the last patch. I haven't played a game where it was important, but I know that the AI will build more units, will be more aggressive, and will build more air units. And I've seen some air-to-air action, but if that's what's happening in your games, or if you're planning for some late game invasions, if you're playing for domination on continents, for example, then the Zeros are excellent units, because they can safely attack enemy fighters, or you know, do sweeps and so on. So it, like the B-17 for the Americans, having a unique unit this late game with bonuses against its direct counter is very powerful. I'll continue in the next video, which will be tomorrow, since my teeth hurt as hell. So see you, ladies and gentlemen.